listening to the Capital PTBO Sports Show, an MNC podcast production. We also want to welcome our viewers on Your TV, Peterborough, Lindsay. As always, a shout out to Dan Malta and David Feely and the crew. The show is broadcast from the Capital PTBO at 370 George Street North. If you want to support the show, you can do so anytime by visiting patreon.com/capitalptbo. On the program today, the Jays continue to have iffy defense and poor pitching, and the season is getting shorter. Who's a greater Canadian baseball player, Larry Walker or Joey Votto? And the Bills, they're still the betting line favorite to win the Super Bowl. Is this the year that hell finally freezes over? Matt Latour, he's in studio here as producer, and my main man, Mark Million, over there. Gentlemen, what is going on? How are you?
I feel like a schmuck. I didn't wear a hat this week, and
you look a little disheveled.
I'm getting a haircut right after this, but yeah, no, I was like fresh out of the shower, air dried it, and didn't wear a hat.
You're gonna take it further down. Let me turn that down.
Wow.
You're gonna take it further down, right to the bark.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna figure it out when I get there, which is what I usually do.
When I was a kid, shout out to my dad who is currently in Alberta playing for the Canadian Championships in horseshoe pitching. Can we turn my headset down?
Now it's too hot.
That's a little bit inside baseball there. It's just too loud.
Before the episode, he was bugging me. It was too quiet.
I know. My dad always wanted me to have the Howie Long brush cut. Always. But my hair comes up too far. Well, now it certainly comes up too far. But when I was a kid, I had that like indent and it came out and went back. And then it would have looked silly.
Oh, you want like the flat top?
You could get the Howie Long.
No, I couldn't.
There is
No, I couldn't.
this one episode of The Simpsons where sort of Homer crossing over into flower power, and it's like, oh, Joe Namath with the long hair, and then his dad says, nah, he looks like a hippie, Johnny Unitas. That's where you set your watch to.
Right.
The flat top, very Johnny Unitas.
Absolutely.
You ever watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yes.
I get that haircut and I'm Scully. Immediately.
There's no shame in that game.
Yeah, I don't know.
Scully.
I don't think it's for me. I don't think so.
I mentioned that you can support the show anytime, patreon.com/capitalptbo. And at the beginning of every program, we're going to do something called Spinning the Wheel of Win Nothing. It's a workshop title, but we're good.
It sounds good.
Yeah. And what's the purpose of this, Mark?
So the purpose is, patreon.com, if you're familiar with this, if you're not familiar with this, and we'll get into the weeds later on, but by becoming a financial supporter of the show, you get your name put onto the wheel of Win Nothing, and every week we'll spin the wheel, and if we bring your name up, you win nothing. But you'll get a nice little shout out from us.
Yeah. So are we doing that right now?
Yeah,
let's spin the wheel?
Yeah. Are we spinning the wheel right now?
All right. So the wheel's up. As you may notice, it looks like a record.
Yes.
Because right now there's only one supporter as seen when he comes back over the shoulder of Jordan Mercier there.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's down to Jim Murray and Jim Murray. Let's spin the wheel.
All right, let's do it.
We got to get some music for this too.
Yeah.
Spin the wheel, make a deal.
It's slowing down. The winner. It's Jim Murray.
Yeah,
Jim Murray.
Jim Murray.
So Jimmy is a great customer of the store. He's in the, we have 4 tiers. He's in the $20 tier, which is the most expensive form of support that we offer. So thanks very much to Jim. You'll get that opportunity no matter what tier you sign up for. But Jimmy was the first, and so he won nothing.
And as you see up there, all-star tier on the board.
Look at that.
He's on the board.
And I just want to give a shout out to Jimmy, who's the first one. There's always a first.
Always a first.
Like the first guy who started delivering pizza.
First guy walked on the moon.
Bingo.
Jimmy Murray.
Who's going to be Buzz Aldrin to his Neil Armstrong? That's the big question. Who's next? Patreon.com/capitalptbo. We got a lot to get to today.
My grandfather's name is also Jim Murray, so I need to almost convince him to be the next one. So we literally have 2 Jim Murrays.
2 Jim Murrays.
Jamal Murray, get him on.
Yeah.
Supporting us. We're going to start with the World Junior Hockey Championship, where Canada is rolling, and so is former Pete Mason McTavish. Before we debate once again why this tournament just simply hasn't caught on, your thoughts, gentlemen, on what you've seen through the first slate of games. Canada, very impressive. The United States and Sweden, those seem to be the teams that are a little bit a notch above the other competition.
Yeah. Canada's obviously rolled through the tournament. Like they're 27-7, I think, goals for and against. Gutsy effort from Finland. The 6-3 to finish at the top of Pool A. It is still tough having no Russian kids, but you know what? Shame on Putin. So that's too bad for them. But did I read something? You've got something there. What the headline is?
I've got notes.
The summer and the increased security are the reasons why.
Scrutiny. You're just reading it upside down.
I'm reading it upside down. And I was thinking increased security. How could that possibly be a deterrent from people going to watch? But just to finish the thought, like it's Canada and Switzerland and like Sweden and Germany or something.
Canada beating Slovakia 11-1. Sort of jumped out.
Yeah, like
Matt, have you even watched any of this?
I watched at
Late night at Boston Pizza.
I watched at Boston Pizza after ball earlier this week. The second and third periods of Sweden versus Germany, which was a closer game than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
but Sweden extended their winning streak over Germany to 27 games, so didn't happen. I watched Latvia's first win randomly, but I've not watched a second of Team Canada, and it's just I keep forgetting it's on. It's August. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm not thinking about the World Juniors at all.
McTavish, though, as the captain, like he's been on an absolute blistering pace. Got 7 goals. I mean, the kid's a stud for sure.
He is for sure. Yeah. I wanted to read this article. It was posted by the Canadian Press, and it is entitled "Summer Increased Scrutiny to Blame for Small Crowds at the World Juniors." That, according to Hockey Canada. So the one thing, if you have been watching the tournament, we highlighted this last week, but it continues to be a major storyline, is just a lack of interest at any level.
Yep.
There was a thought, I'm sure, once upon a time that like there's not much going on in the summer, like in the sporting landscape, dog days of summer. I'm sure people will be seething for some level of competitive hockey. I think what we've learned, that not so much the case, but according to the Canadian Press, it might be a little bit, there might be more reasons. So this was reported earlier today. Empty seats have been a staple at the unusual World Junior Hockey Championship in Edmonton this month, and Hockey Canada says scandals surrounding the organization are in part holding fans back. So they are acknowledging their role as part of the ongoing sexual assault, sexual harassment suits that I think are mainly hanging over the 2018 and 2003 teams.
Yeah.
But then the brass, and we found out about hush money that was paid to victims and a whole bunch of greasy stuff going on. So that did come to light. While the tournament usually sees thousands of avid hockey lovers turn out for each game, the average attendance for the tournament's 20 preliminary round matches was just 1,319. You put that in a stadium that can, hold 18,000?
Yeah.
And it looks terrible.
Yeah.
It's like when the Cleveland Indians used to play at Municipal Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
And you draw like 10,000, but it's seated 90.
Yeah, right.
It looks like little ants.
Yeah.
Like terrible.
No, that's a loss.
Yeah.
Like that's tough all the way around. At least next year, I guess they'll go back to December, and hopefully the people that have been held accountable at Hockey Canada are removed or fired or whatever.
The statement from the organization, it continued. It said, first, the COVID-19 pandemic delayed the tournament to August, and second, there is understandable scrutiny from Canadians of Hockey Canada and the culture of hockey. Criticism of Hockey Canada loomed large as the 10-team tournament began back on August the 9th.
Yeah.
Was interesting. No attendance reported for a bout between Switzerland and Sweden in one of the days.
Yeah, because
didn't register. You need at least 100 people to register, and it just didn't.
Yeah,
I guess it's the Pelham Panthers Junior B. What's going on?
I don't know.
That's a tough one.
Anyways, it shocked me, just 1,300. The 2022 tournament, of course, we know was originally scheduled to be played in December, but rising COVID-19 cases among players and officials forced games to be forfeited after just 4 days. More than 1,500 tickets available on Ticketmaster for some of the Canadian games still remaining. So anyways, 1,300 fans, like average attendance.
That would never happen in another year. Even in the worst, when they used to have it in the worst European countries where they would have it in Slovakia or something like that. They'd have it in one of the
Park Arena.
Yeah,
like in Whitby, it would be that sort of ambiance. To it.
Yeah. It reminds me of a couple years ago, the Ottawa 67s had to play out of Canadian Tire Center, and they were getting 3,000 fans a game, but it looked like nobody was there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That sucks. And I feel bad for these kids too, because like you got to remember they had this tournament taken away from them back in the winter.
Yeah.
And some of them on that team aren't on this team as well. But now you have this one, and like nobody's there to see it.
Mason McTavish, we highlighted his play. Connor Bedard is also somebody that everyone's watching. He is, at this point anyways, a consensus #1 overall pick. Who knows what the next year will show us. That said, he's obviously extremely talented, and it looks like he has a game that would translate to the professional level.
So I think they showed like a full 68 over the course of a full 68 game CHL season. He's got 54 goals and 126 points, and he just turned 17. So this is a kid. I always feel like we're way too quick to jump to the kid could be a generational talent. You know, like in the same way we did with McDavid, which turned out to be true, because they don't come along all the time.
It's supposed to be once in a generation. It seems
that's
like
why
every
it is,
other year you get, this is the next one. This is the next one.
It is a strange play because if you go back 15 years and you look at the #1 draft picks from then, like Patrick Steffen and these guys, oh my gosh, the bigger crapshoot. Today, now every #1 now is a stud.
They're so far under the microscope that it's hard to miss in an epic way. We did see it with Nail Yakupov.
He's at home punching air listening to this
He
conversation.
totally is. And there's been some lukewarm ones.
Yeah, Nuge.
Nugent Hopkins.
I think he's still
Nico
probably been
Hischier?
in the better half. Nico Hischier comes to
Nico
mind.
Hischier would come to mind, but still a guy who's in the league, 3-4 years in.
Yeah.
But that being said, it's almost like you're so under the microscope now versus before. Before I got the feeling that it was like some scouts might very casually see some players and, you kind of had the guys you were going to hone in on.
Yeah.
Maybe there was a top 2 or 3 that really got scrutiny. But after that, not to say that even now it's an exact science because you see busts all the time. But in terms of the #1 overall, I guess we'll find out with the Montreal Canadiens when they walk off the board a little bit.
Slavkovsky's putting up 50 this year.
Easily.
Don't worry.
Oh, jeepers.
First house 50 goal scorer in 200 years or whatever it is.
50 games, maybe?
Stefan Richer.
Yeah, Stefan Richer.
Was it Richer? Yeah.
Indeed.
I guess so.
He did it twice. So anyways, we'll keep our eye, of course, on the World Junior Hockey Championship. Matt, we've got an email.
Oh, do we?
Ready to go.
Mark, you know what that means?
Favorite part of the show.
You've got mail.
Yeah. And this comes from Alex S., and I feel like he has been a bit of a repeat emailer. So thank you, Captain at thecapitalptbo.ca.
Correct.
Can I get an update on the Capital PTBO Home Run Derby?
Oh.
I'm still very interested in possibly taking part. Where do things stand right now? That's Alex S.
So insurance provider, we've sent the paperwork through. We're currently in the weeds of how does the event, what's going to happen, what safety parameters are in place, all these sorts of things. So we've done all that. We're still actively taking both volunteers and participants. We had a nice little swell there for volunteers. From participation standpoint, obviously there's still plenty of room at the inn. It is the dog days. I mean, we're still 6 weeks out. So, a lot of these things, it doesn't start to really, really catch on until the end, but we've been very, very happy with the support that we've had so far. And it's so, like, we've got the balls in place. We still need to get the bats. There's a couple of guys still out there, and you know who you are. If you're watching the show, that one guy's got 8 players. He says it's going to come. So one guy wanted to challenge like players on his team. So it might be the type of thing we're going to have a limit as to how many we can have because for time's sake, we have to. So
it needs to be wrapped up.
It does. Yeah. Like, so the process is you book the field from 10 to 4:30. You can't have something that's an 8 or 10, 12, 14 hour event where guys are, putting them off the Kinsman at 8 o'clock at night because the lights come on. It's gets a little bit old then. But Alex, because I don't think I have an Alex yet. So if you haven't signed up and you want to, all you got to do is reach out on Instagram, Facebook, message us, and
Matt Latour, you're going to be in it, and I believe I am going to be in it as well.
Yeah,
just working out the kinks.
Not confident I'll be hitting one, but if I need a pitcher, it'll be Jordan Mercier because last night. He gave up a 2-run over-the-fence dinger at Kinsman Park. The only home run I'm convinced given up in our league this year.
What?
Would
At
bat.
least over the fence.
Would bat.
Wouldn't bat. I don't know what this guy's name was. He was like built like me. He had like a Wario mustache. and he wore number 69. Like everything about this guy.
Yeah, right. Everything
He seems like a walking myth.
for sure.
I thought he got one earlier in the night. Now, that being said, I play in a different league where men use aluminum bats, and there's home runs all the time. So I didn't think much of it, but everyone else is going nuts about it. So I thought, okay.
we play at Bowers most weeks.
I want to look at the overall number. Like, he probably went 2 for 10 that night, but he hit the big one.
He hit 2 for 10, but he hit the warning track about 8 times.
Yeah, he can hit.
Jeepers.
That's for sure.
He was a home run or an out.
With a Wario stash.
He looks like something straight out of a video game.
Give a shout out, actually. So the MNC Ravens, we finished our season.
Okay.
2-16.
Pretty good.
Better on paper than I think what we brought to the Diamond.
Okay.
And the team that laid it on us was, their name was the Runs.
Oh.
And they had brown shirts. And they
Come
were
on.
really...
Get
They
out
were a
of
good
here.
team, man. Top to bottom. They were very solid.
No lefties on their team.
So
they hit opposite a lot.
Let me get this straight. They're the Runs.
Yep.
They have brown shirts and they're solid.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very good segment. Thank you.
What's wrong with that?
No, nothing. I'm qualifying.
Actual, and like, those are facts. There's nothing wrong with this.
No, sure, I know. You're just laying it all out there.
And they were all over us.
Yeah,
and they were all over
us.
Yeah.
Very
We
good.
have another email here.
You've got mail.
From Jerry. Do you believe the Lakers have what it takes to beat Six Nations? And then he says, in brackets, I have my doubts. Jerry.
Wow. Jerry, come on, man.
Jerry.
So before we get to this, it's important to note we're already a game deep in the series by the time this airs.
Yes.
Yeah,
And game 2 is coming up right after this on your TV.
correct. There was a lot of people that have come into the store. We do get a lot of Lakers fans. We are going to start carrying the gear. That's going to happen soon here at the Capital PTBO as a small little plug. But there was a lot of people that counted them out in the first series. Didn't think that they had the legs. Thought that they were, that it was a bonus that they got game 2. Listen, you still got to win 4 games in the series. I guess maybe it's a more senior group. Vitarelli and Sean Evans and these guys, they're in lacrosse terms, they're getting measured in dog years here now. Sure, Matt Vince, okay, I can appreciate that. You still got to beat them 4 straight, or 4 out of 7 anyways. Yep. And I think Six Nations will have all they can handle. Coburg was of no competition. They'll have their hands full.
It's not totally like Six Nations walked away with the number 1 seed in the league.
Correct.
No. So I've got the head.
Although I think they were the Lakers were what, 1-3?
1-3 against Six Nations.
Yeah.
Yes. So Six Nations 8-3-1 on the year. Peterborough 7-5. Chiefs swept their first round series. Peterborough obviously in 5, kind of.
A very strange 5 games.
Sure.
Where they might run into problems, though, is Six Nations is the number 1 ranked defense in the league and the number 3 ranked offense. But luckily, Peterborough is the number 2 offense. So I think it's like this could go 7.
I love us throwing out those league rankings when there's 4 teams.
4
But it's
teams.
awesome.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They've got the 3rd ranked offense in a 4-team.
And then somehow this graphic I'm looking at has the chance to win the series, like anyone's betting on it. But it gives the Chiefs a 66% chance.
Does Bodog have the MSL?
Yeah. It is. It looks like Lax Alert is the source of the graphic here.
Okay, 66% chance.
Yeah.
For the 6. All right. I'll take the other side of that bet. I'll get Peterborough. It'll go late. It'll go 6-7 games for sure.
Going to be a lot of fun. I've noticed the atmosphere throughout the first round of the playoffs in Peterborough was great, and I think it's sort of build towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
And makes sense because there was so much confusion in the early part. Are they playing? Are they not playing? What's going on? What teams are they playing? But I've noticed that you're starting to get sort of that true 28, 2,900, and which is what makes Peterborough extremely special.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Are we excited to talk a little football?
Oh my goodness.
I've been waiting for this.
Okay, wait, hold on. Is football going to be the trivia again this week?
No.
Okay. I was starting to sweat. I wasn't happy.
You got to start reading textbooks between games, though. Between shows.
You might, yeah.
But I don't know what the trivia is going to be.
You can go over to the Capital PTBO's lending library there at the front of the store. There's no almanacs, but if somebody out there wants to donate a couple of sports books to our lending library, grab Latour an almanac that ends like in 2007.
Here's my thing.
Wait a minute. Latour he's solid from like 06 forward. Go back and watch our Conn Smythe trivia.
That's when I turned 10 years old.
Right.
You start to remember everything.
Right. Every single guy is your wheelhouse era. I took all the guys from the 70s, 80s, even though that's not my wheelhouse.
Here's my problem is I'll research something, like knowing Jordan this week, I'll research something about the World Juniors, and the topic will be like, MLB players that hit left that have more than 300 strikeouts in a season.
Well, there wouldn't be too many of those.
Mono, 50 home run seasons.
Come on! Come on.
50.
I literally did World Junior research.
We just talked about how nobody cares about the World Juniors. If we had World Junior trivia, the channel would change.
Nobody cares about baseball in the middle of August.
Actually,
in September.
I think you might be a little wrong there.
It's the Aaron Judge watch. That's it.
Well, that was partially the spot, why it
and that's
inspired
lost some steam.
the category. No, so football. Will the Bills win the Super Bowl? Still betting line favorites, plus 600. There's a couple of picks that I've made of teams that are a little bit further down the list, but the Buffalo Bills, I believe they have now formally trimmed down to 53. Everybody's super excited. There were takeaways. They played in the preseason.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if this is the year that the Bills... We've seen streaks get snapped, okay?
Yep.
We've seen the Cubs win the World Series. We've seen the Red Sox win the World Series. We've seen all of this crazy stuff. Why can't the Bills win the Super Bowl? They have, in fantasy terms, how high is Josh Allen on most boards?
Sure.
And what he can do.
Absolutely.
Super great.
Yep.
Very good offense. Very good defense.
Yep.
A defense that can force a lot of turnovers.
That's only gotten better with. And don't at me about Von Miller being an old man. Forget it.
Vaughn showed that he can still do it. Now, he benefited from playing next to Aaron Donald.
Sure.
But that being said, he still had to get there and tackle the quarterback.
Yeah, and I think
playoffs.
If anything, he's going to give you that veteran presence. The guy's already won. He's played on terrific defenses. He's been the defense when he was in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was the captain there. He was the number one dude. Stephon Diggs, I think, is the key here. Like, Diggs seems to be one of these guys. He's like a number one that never gets the ball. He's not like a 1,200-yard guy a year for some reason. And when the big games come on, he's catching one ball. You get Gabriel Davis, who catches all four in Kansas City. Again, a kid that just came out of nowhere. So, I don't know. Diggs is not as he's not as not clutch as he's shown. And I don't know about Gabriel Davis. I'm not really sure that he's not Jerry Rice. But this is a tough team, and Buffalo's a hard place to play. I'm still surprised that they're the betting line favorite, to be honest. Because in Vegas, there's a lot of like that public opinion that sort of matters with Tom coming back. And if Rodgers had Devontae Adams, I'm sure Green Bay's probably right back in the spotlight there. But I think there's way bigger. I would put $100 on Buffalo for sure at 600. But I think there's a couple of others in that AFC that make it really tough.
Buffalo can't because they're Buffalo.
No.
That's it.
No, that's not a no.
I am taking the Texans versus the Falcons in the Super Bowl at plus 500,000.
Wow.
Give me that $10 to win 50 grand. Come on.
Might as well put a sprinkle. Somebody will out there.
I hope not.
But I don't think so. You can just give us the $10.
No kidding.
Yourself.
And this, I'm on DraftKings, says the most likely Super Bowl final to be Tampa Bay versus Buffalo, which I would love to see Tom Brady against the Bills in a Super Bowl.
I will say, as a Rams backer, they're getting not a lot of respect here.
No kidding.
I guess the second most likely.
Traditionally, it's been a while since there's been a back-to-back, right? I think it was the Pats 03-04. Was that the last time we had back-to-back Super Bowl champs?
Yeah,
I think so.
Stafford, though, like there's whispers about Stafford and his shoulder or his elbow, right?
Oh, him flinging up 50-yard passes like ducks.
Yeah.
Not great.
Is he a Jimmy G landing spot?
No. What do you mean? No.
There's no, you just dismiss it like that? You don't think Garoppolo, there's no chance that if the 49ers release him that the Rams don't pick him up?
No.
Oh my gosh.
John Wolford?
Well,
nice little QB backup there, bud.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you talking about?
No, I think Stafford's good. He just needs to learn how to play within himself a little bit more. I saw too many times last year where he tried to go back to 2010, Matty, and was underthrowing some balls pretty inexplicably.
Last back-to-back Super Bowls are 04-05.
Yeah. Which is the 03-04 seasons.
Yeah. I think that you better watch your man, Matty. I have a feeling there's some
They
whispers
don't
there
want Garoppolo.
that his elbow is potato mash.
Looking around the rest of the AFC, you mentioned there's a couple of teams to watch for. I always expect the Chargers to take that next step forward, and it's just never happened in my life.
No.
And now?
When they had LT, it was like, okay, they're going to the next level
Sure.
now. And then it was like, wow, Phillip Rivers will get now. And now you're like Justin Herbert, who, by the way, is actually my favorite young quarterback out there.
Sure.
I love what he brings to the table. You just wonder, playing in that division, how much they beat up on each other. Kansas City probably poised to take a step back, though Mahomes, still in the conversation for the best overall player.
Yep.
And then you get Russell Wilson going to Denver.
Yeah.
I mean, good defense, veteran quarterback.
Tough to play.
Very difficult environment, right? Altitude, all that sort of stuff. So that's, for my money, probably the best division in football. There's no doubt.
Who's gonna fall out in there? Because you're just going to expect San Diego based on the fact that they don't have all the star power that's been added, or Kansas City really is only they lost Tyreek Hill. But somebody's got to eat one. Nobody's talking about the Raiders, and this guy's talking about the Raiders going to the Super Bowl. I think they're like 1,100 or something. The Raiders are. I'm not a believer. Devontae Adams, for me, I guess maybe I don't believe that he has the ability to break a game. Either him or Derek Carr. I don't know.
I think the Raiders are last in that division.
It's right. So
I think it's going Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders.
It really Chiefs.
Yeah, I can't doubt Pat Mahomes.
I know, but you've got to get into that. Like for the Chiefs, I think they've got a gunsling every night. The defense.
They've been doing it for 4 years.
I know, but at some point, something falls off here. You've lost your number 2 receiver. He wasn't the number 1, Tyreek. He's too fast. He outruns the ball. Whatever. They're a wide receiver going down away from not being a very good club. Andy Reid has a very rich history of not having good defensive teams. Patty Mahomes makes a difference for sure.
Yeah, Patty can put up 50 a night.
Just, I'm certain here that I don't think the Chiefs win the West. I'll be surprised if Denver doesn't.
Cincinnati, it's a team that we're not even talking about. Are we to assume that was a total flash in the pan? A couple last-second wins. A rally in the AFC title game against Kansas City that just should never have happened.
No.
And they basically broke Patrick Mahomes. If I'm one of the division foes, that's the game tape I'm studying.
Absolutely.
In the second half of that game. And you play that 100 times, and Kansas City probably wins 98 of them. They just didn't on that game. But, is that a team that's poised to probably take a couple steps back? When I look at that division, I still kind of like Baltimore the most.
Yeah.
Hard team to play against. Lamar Jackson, really, really great. Former MVP. It's going to be a bounce back year, I think, for that squad.
Sure. And he's contract this year, right?
He's contract.
Right? So in a contract year, you're going to want to perform. Yeah. You're going to want to be huge.
So in my 6 years as a football fan, I've been a Browns fan, and this is the year I'm not going to cheer for them.
What?
Well, because the Watson stuff's so ridiculous, and
Sure.
they're a circus.
Sure.
They're going to win 13 games now because of that, and that alone.
They're just not like, we know Matt Latour and Peterborough's not watching, so now we're going to turn it on.
Exactly.
Myles Garrett hasn't played in 3 straight games or something, or missed 3. What did he miss? He missed all week with a personal issue.
That's fine.
Deshaun's going down.
He's resting.
He's an
Deshaun
animal.
can go down. They got Jacoby Brissett as the backup.
You watch the Pittsburgh Steelers.
You got an old Amari Cooper. Come on.
They'll be tough to beat if Watson doesn't play, which I hope he doesn't. Pittsburgh Steelers in that division for me is it. I don't think the Bengals. I know the 3 kids there, Jamar and Lamar and who's the other 2 guys?
Yep. Nick Chubb's going to run for 400.
Yeah, Nick Chubb. Kenny Pickett is going to be an animal.
You're a quarterback with the last name Pickett.
Trust me.
I'm Johnny Johnny Interceptions. How you doing?
Kenny Pickett. Trust me, he can.
know.
I want to continue the football conversation, but there was major news coming out of the NCAA a little bit earlier this week. Surprise, surprise. The number 1 ranked team in the preseason poll, according to, the coaches poll, the Associated Press, is the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Yeah.
Wow.
Continue to be one of the most remarkable dynasty-like programs that we've probably ever seen. Not shocking, considering they're bringing back Bryce Young, who was the Heisman Trophy winner, National Defensive Player of the Year, Will Anderson Jr., The Crimson Tide received 54 of 63 first-place votes and 1,566 points in the top 25. I don't know. Do you get the feeling you were born and raised here in Peterborough? Is there a real appetite for U.S. college football? Where does this sort of rank? Because in my circle, it's always something you pay attention to. But then we would always hear nobody really cares. What was your sense growing up? First of all, who was your team?
Growing up was Ohio State.
Number 2 ranked this year, by the way.
My favorite player was Andy Katzenmoyer. It's called the Big Cat.
I thought you were coming at me with Eddie George or something.
No, Eddie George was a stud too, but a little bit before my time. Before I started, Katzenmoyer played middle linebacker, and he was an absolute animal. Had a cup of coffee at the NFL level. I think he was drafted by New England. But they were my favorite, and you used to get them Saturday afternoon, right? So you get Notre Dame, and you would get Ohio, and you would get kind of the Midwest sort of.
What's his name?
Sorry,
your favorite player?
Andy Katzenmoyer.
I'm gonna look him up.
Yeah, the Big Cat. He was a beauty.
Fact checker
Brett Black. So here at the store level, we get a lot of people that come in and ask for college. It's certainly a spot that, from a retail standpoint, we could blow our brains out. There's 100 teams. For everyone that's Georgia, Alabama, Ohio, Notre Dame, Michigan Wolverines, there's a guy who's like Louisiana State. Well, okay, LSU, great. Maybe one time, sure, but and it doesn't translate the schools because there's really no program that has a super solid basketball and football. So it's not like I could buy Kentucky or Duke and kind of play both sides of it. Michigan kind of does.
Michigan State.
Michigan State kind of does.
Notre Dame
kind of does.
Their basketball team flirts with it.
That's right.
A little bit.
And same with Spartans, and same with Wolverines, Oregon Ducks. But it's a lot more closet. A lot of people like Oregon Ducks. I shouldn't say, for the colorway, but I mean, the colorway is the sexiest in sports.
Yeah.
That green and yellow is terrific. It's unbelievable.
And they have a lot of Canadian basketball players. They do that a lot.
Sure, you're right close to the border. You probably got a big influence. So I would say, for some people, if you liked the Big Four, you liked the Big Five. College football was, and it was the precursor. It started the week before the NFL started.
Right.
So while you're waiting and you're watching the NFL, and you got all these jobbers in after the first quarter, guys that are trying to make the practice squad, whatever. You could watch opening Brett Musburger, Keith Jackson.
Yeah.
You could listen to those voices and get excited for the following week when the NFL started.
What do you think Andy Katzenmoyer is doing today?
Construction.
Owns a car dealership.
He sells property and casualty insurance.
Beautiful.
He's also the president of NFL Alumni of Central Ohio.
Oh, well, there you go.
Get him on the
Still
show.
Hey, we should have him on the show.
I bet he would be flattered to learn that there's some guy in Peterborough, Ontario, and that was his favorite player.
The Big Cat. Trust me, that guy was a weapon.
He's got a Super Bowl ring, NFL All-Rookie team.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Who did he
no.
play for?
I played for the Patriots in 99 to 01.
Oh, wow.
Then one interception in his career.
Nice.
Big Cat.
For me, it was always the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Oh, yeah.
And part of the love was, well, they were really good. National champions, 94, 95, co-national.
Sure.
Remember, they had co-national champions in
Yeah.
1997. And Lawrence Phillips. Tommy Fraser. By the way, Lawrence Phillips, who came to the CFL, played for the Alouettes. There's a lot of those sort of crossovers with Nebraska, including Heisman Trophy winner Eric Crouch, who had a stint with the Toronto Argos.
Jeepers.
And it's been basically since Eric Crouch that they've been relevant at all.
Yeah.
And they're not even in the preseason, but
Nebraska, that Lawrence Phillips, you look at his numbers.
oh yeah.
Holy smokes. This kid was a can't miss. Just
Who
between
missed?
between the
Actually,
years.
it's funny. The Rams took him, I think, 6th overall. Dick Vermeil.
Dick Vermeil.
Didn't work out.
How does
Drafting running back.
How does Dick Vermeil sit in the room in the interview, to be completely honest, and thinks I like what this kid has to say.
Kid had some issues.
The kid had some issues.
No doubt. Well, I'm super excited. And because, humble brag, I went to the NCAA championship game this past January.
Did you? You've never mentioned it.
I think that's only enhanced my interest in college football. And I also now have a very soft spot for the Georgia Bulldogs because we're sitting in their section. And I was like, man, these people really care.
Yeah.
Like, there's women in tears who are like 60.
Terrific.
And I don't see the same passion at the Fleming College Sport and Wellness Center.
No, but it's the game at the purest level.
Yes.
Right? Like, you're watching pro caliber talent, except for the speed.
Yeah.
Because a lot of guys, everybody says that coming into the college goes to the pro level. It says that, the game gets on top of you quicker here at the pro level. Mm-hmm. But that's what it is. It's pro talent in front of 90,000 people, and you've cheered for a generation for this team.
Yeah. They can tell you who the backup offensive guard was in 1986.
Sure.
Team. And that's super cool. Baseball, are we worried about the Toronto Blue Jays?
Yes.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Now, season's running out.
Yep.
A quiet trade deadline starting to look pretty bad.
Ebbs and flows all over the place, but it's crazy. They'll reel off 8 straight wins and then lose, 7 out of 8.
Is the trade deadline looking bad?
I think probably.
Just
because
as a
it seems
devil's
like
advocate.
there's a lot of teams around them that upgraded.
Okay. But Tampa Bay didn't. Baltimore didn't. Baltimore's the one that's really hurting your feelings. Ryan Mountcastle is just... The Jays should just go out and get him. And they won't have to worry about the guy hitting 370 against them.
Yeah.
The Red Sox are still the Red Sox. The Yanks, they're okay.
They've fallen off a bit.
They've fallen off. They've lost 7 of 10. I wouldn't worry about that. Back-to-back shutouts this week. This team's not ready. Bo Bichette is not taking a step. Vlad Guerrero, while he's had, a 22-game hit streak or something? Yeah. He's been the price of admission. He's come in shape. His first base has been more than admirable. He's not a Gold Glover over there.
No, but improved.
Like on Monday night, Kikuchi, you go to pick the guy off on second base. You're in the 9-hole slot. Jeepers, you have a hard enough time putting it over the plate, to quote my friend Tom Cummings. The guy could barely get the play. He could barely get the ball into the fan tracks.
And they just keep rolling. Like, I could have told you about 15 starts ago, I don't think this is the guy you want to roll out there every 5th day.
Sure. So now what have you got? You've optioned Ross Stripling, and you can't put, if you have any hopes of getting to the wild card, you can't put Kikuchi in again.
Maybe the more concerning one for me, maybe concerning is not the word, but disappointing, is Barrios.
Yeah.
Highly touted, big pickup.
Opening day starter.
Successful career to this point. And then I'm sure it'll change, but a 5.61 ERA, which was the worst among all starters who qualified with a certain amount of innings pitched.
And they got him for 8 years?
I think he got the bonus in 7.
Any game. Originally it was, okay, he can't pitch against marquee teams on the road and maybe he's better. And then that even reversed where it's just like every time he gets it, I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Too much talent to be pitching at this level.
Like
he is just sagged incredibly.
The good news is Manoah's looked good. That's good news.
Yeah.
Gosman's been pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah, Gosman's been good.
Yep.
I mean,
he's
that
cooled
was a
down
blip.
a bit, but I mean, he started out really hot. The problem with this is, and Mark, I remember the 1 week Jordan couldn't make it. It was just me and Mark doing the podcast. Mm-hmm. He said the problem with the Jays is they play in the AL East. Mm-hmm. And you can have 61 wins right now as of Tuesday when we're recording this, and you're still third in that division, but you'd be fighting for first in the AL Central. And you'd be second place in the AL West.
Which the Jays had the chance to move to the Central in the 90s. Buggered it up. They had their chance. They'd rather take the draws with the gate receipts of New York's and the gate receipts of the Red Sox. Sure, but you haven't won in 25 years.
Yep.
And that's a relative term, even 25 years.
Getting closer to 30. Yeah.
Well, you're 30 since you won a championship, certainly, but 25 since you've even been on the radar.
Some other baseball news for you. No Canadian has now played in more Major League Baseball games than Joey Votto. The Cincinnati Reds first baseman appeared in his 1,989th contest on Sunday, which was an 8-5 win over the Cubs. That broke the previous mark, which had been held by Larry Walker of Maple Ridge, BC. Let's boil it down. Matt, bring up the numbers.
You want the numbers?
Who is... It's tough to say who is... I don't know if I want to phrase this as who is greater. Who would you want?
Right.
You know what I mean? I think they're different enough players. Like Larry Walker, you're going to get a little bit more pop,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Votto, I mean, his on base is going to be superior to what Larry Walker's is.
Yep.
Although Larry's no slouch.
Correct.
I'm interested to hear the figures because I think they're very comparable. But who would you rather?
Yeah, I think this is a toss-up. I think you're going to find in like the 4 or 5 major categories of Canadian ball players, these guys are 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like there's not going to be anybody else in the mix there.
Home runs, Larry Walker, 383. Joey Votto, 342.
Mm-hmm.
RBI, Larry
That's actually
Walker.
more home runs for Votto than I would have thought.
Walker's played more, not more seasons, I guess.
Yeah, this is, so Walker in these stats is 22 to 38. Votto's 23 to 38.
Right.
RBI, Larry Walker, 1311. Joey Votto, 1106. Stolen bases, Larry Walker runs away.
Oh,
Yep.
sure, but that's
230 to 80, but stolen bases are dying anyway.
right. That's the game thing.
Walks, Joey Votto's taking about 400 more.
Mm.
Strikeouts, he's got about 300 more. On base, 412 for Votto, 400 for Walker.
Yeah,
that's a lot closer.
These
than
are
I
a toss-up.
Yeah,
We should also acknowledge that Votto, these numbers are going down.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
the counting stats are going up, but I mean, this year, 220 with
anything
a 326.
percentage based is going down.
Yeah.
His overall career batting average dipped from 302 this year to 297.
That's
and he'll
right.
never get it back up.
No,
above 3.
that's right. No. There's a couple other anomalies there, like with the RBI total and something. I mean, Coors Field in relation to,
Yeah.
it's not Riverfront Stadium. I don't know
Well,
why I had
Votto
that.
took a
but-
lot of heat, right? That he was unwilling to expand his strike zone to drive in runs.
Yeah.
He's probably only had a couple of 100-run seasons.
Right.
RBI seasons.
Is there any, does anybody have, is there any stipulation there? Is there any asterisk as a Canadian when Votto, made the anti-Canadian statement there on the radio? Remember that? He talked about on that sports show about the Jays had trotted out the Canadian ball player, and he's kind of like, well, where's my accolade? Where am I as a Canadian? And then he had to backtrack it.
Votto is certainly a more interesting personality of a guy.
Sure.
He's more candid.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Larry ruffled any feathers through the course of his career.
No.
Larry also spent some time, of course, his first few seasons with Montreal. I'm going to go Larry Walker by a hair, and I think the WAR stat would bear me out there too, where he's about 8 above.
He's got 72. Votto's got 64. So exactly.
And again, Votto is a minus this year, so I don't think he's going to get that.
He won't get it.
Both have 1 MVP.
Yes.
Votto, I think, got cheated out of a second MVP. He was actually the leader in WAR that particular season.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to say Larry's peak was worth it.
Yeah.
Like his 97 year.
Oh,
Where
huge.
he had 49 homers, 130 RBIs, and batted 363. I think he finished first in homers, second in RBIs, third in average.
That's right.
Or one of those. It was a 9.8 WAR season. Also defensively, I mean, a very good Gold Glove caliber right fielder,
Yeah.
which is a tougher position to play than what a first baseman is.
Sure.
Also just played in the playoffs a lot more.
Played in the playoffs a lot more. And somebody who had a right, like you said the 230 steals. I don't know if anyone who watched Larry later on looked at him and thought there was a guy who could break a game with his speed.
Mm-hmm.
But the year he hit 49 homers, he definitely stole 33, 34 bases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just think the peak was that much better. Where I thought, you know what? I think they're both Hall of Famers, though.
The stat, you want to know the stat that Joey Votto more than doubles Larry Walker in?
Please.
Salary earned.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
228 million to 110 million.
Yeah.
How many kick saves do you think, though, Joey Votto's made?
Yeah.
Quite a few.
Trust me, Larry was a goaltender.
Yeah.
Larry also would threw the guy out at first from right field.
That's right, he did. Absolutely.
That's the craziest thing.
Yeah.
And I think we've done enough to debunk the Coors Field stuff, which, yes, it was a
Yeah.
factor, but he was also a very good hitter on the road.
That's right.
So it's not like...
No, it wasn't like you were inflated. It was a bandbox to some degree, but I mean, it was harder to be in a pitcher at Coors Field certainly than anything else.
That's true. Do you want to do... Why don't we do Mono y Mono now? That's
Get
almost
into
the
it.
perfect segue. And the category is 50 home run seasons.
Yeah, I've been racking my brain. I think I know.
Yeah.
50 home runs.
I think I know a good 6 or 7.
So
For sure.
From that segue, no Votto, no Larry Walker.
Correct.
Larry had 49.
Yeah.
Couldn't get that. Man, that must make you angry. Get to that 49.
49,
Like,
sure.
man, there's a big difference between 49 and 50 in a legacy play.
I thought of it just like in a complete aside here. Chris Woodward gets fired by the Texas Rangers at 498 games coached.
So Mike Modano, how many games played did he have?
1499. And
Yeah.
then
Babcock wouldn't play him.
Yeah, right.
sat him, which we now know. It is hard to fathom that in the history of Major League Baseball, just 43 occasions that there have been.
43,
Yep.
and that's guys that have done it multiple times?
Yes.
Yeah. Because there's got to be like 25
Yeah, sure.
dudes that have done it.
You look at me like I know.
It's got to be close. Okay, let's rock and roll.
We want to give Matt Latour a home diamond advantage here.
Yeah, go
Mano
ahead.
y Mano showdown. 50 home run seasons in the history of Major League Baseball. Let's roll it.
Jose Bautista.
Yes, that is correct. He had 54 in 2010. That's the Blue Jays franchise record.
Barry Lamar Bonds.
Barry Bonds, 73 single season record. The only time he ever passed 50.
Correct.
Which is crazy.
Cheaters don't count.
Oh, there's going to be a few
there's gonna
cheaters
be
on the
a few
list.
names on this list. Yeah.
The next guy up is
We
going to be
might as well
guaranteed.
just roll them out now.
Yeah.
Pete Alonso.
Pete Alonso, the most recent member, 2019, 53.
The next man inside the syringe, Brady Anderson.
Going right to the Brady bomb in 95. Maybe the most ridiculous one. Sorry, 96, 50 home runs for Brady Anderson.
Followed it up the next year with 12.
Never had another 20 home run season, I don't think.
It's like Danny Heatley level stuff.
Yeah.
That was brutal.
Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge, absolutely. 52 with the New York Yankees back in 2017.
Roger Maris.
Roger Maris. It sounds like an old man take, but I still consider 61 to be the most sacred of home run numbers. He did it in 1961.
Prince Fielder.
Prince Fielder, 50 on the nose
That's my guy.
in 2007.
Big Prince Fielder guy.
Babe Ruth.
George Herman Ruth had the first 4 50 home run seasons. 54, 59, 60, 54 in 1920, 21, 27, 28.
Alex Rodriguez.
A-Rod, you know he had a couple. 3, in fact.
Talking about the syringe.
54 with the New York Yankees in 2007. 57 with the Texas Rangers in 2002. And then in 2001, when like a million guys did it, he also had 52 with the Texas Rangers.
Mark McGuire.
Mark McGuire, 4 different times hitting 50 in, 96, 97, 98, 99. Wow. Impressive. Including, of course, 2 over 60.
David Ortiz.
Big Poppy, absolutely. He got it done. I want to say 2006, 54.
Being a lefty at Fenway must be nice.
Yeah.
Samuel Sosa.
Sammy Sosa. Yes, he had 4, including 4 in a row, 3 of which were over 60, 98, 99, 2000, 2001. He's got 360 home run seasons. In none of those seasons did he actually lead the league in home runs.
Yeah, hard to imagine.
That's one of the most insane stats ever.
Giancarlo Stanton.
Giancarlo Stanton, Miami Marlins, 59 in 2017. Yes.
He went to the Yankees like right away, didn't he?
Yep.
And it's never been the same since.
No.
Let's wind back the clock. Ralph Kiner.
We're going all the way back to Ralph Kiner, who did it twice with the Pittsburgh Pirates, 1947, 1949, 51, and 54.
Chris Davis.
Chris Davis, in the running for the most obscure.
Yes.
Big power hitter, though, 2013, 53.
You can't tell me that guy wasn't juiced up.
Time will tell.
Forearms are about this big.
Time will tell. Mickey Mantle.
Mickey Mantle did it on 2 different occasions, 1956, 52. That's in which he won the Major League Triple Crown. And then also as a teammate of Roger Maris, 1961.
Correct.
54 that year. You guys are doing well.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Ken Griffey Jr. twice, back-to-back, 56 and 56 in 1997, 1998.
Albert Bell.
Albert Bell.
I've never heard that name
Cleveland.
in my life.
That's just abysmal.
Who is that?
Like one of the biggest sluggers of the era.
Yeah, he was like the most feared man in Cleveland for many years.
Chased kids in his truck.
Oh, yeah.
When they egged
Chased
his
kids
house.
at Halloween when he egged his house. No, he was a mean dude.
Yeah, really nasty and clean, I think.
Yes.
I've never heard rumblings of Albert Bell.
No.
1995, 50 on the nose. Also the only man to have 50 homers and 50 doubles in the same season.
Correct.
He had 52 that year.
Thinking of guys like post 2000. Ryan Howard?
Ryan
Ooh,
Howard,
yeah, he's
58
there.
in 2006.
It's a good one.
You guys are flexing all over this guy.
Frank Robinson.
Giving you a strike.
Oh, let's go.
Frank
No
Robinson.
Frank Robinson. 586 home runs.
586 home runs and
50
no
home run
50
season.
homer seasons.
Cecil Fielder?
Oh, he's got one.
Cecil Fielder, you know that he does.
For sure.
1990, he hit 51.
51. Didn't get the MVP that year. You know who did?
Detroit Tigers. 1990?
91.
Ricky.
91.
I have no idea.
Well, this
Don't
is
look at me.
90 on.
Oh,
90.
that's right. Did he get it or did Dennis Eckersley get it?
Eckersley got it 92.
92.
Ricky was 90.
Uh,
A reliever getting MVP. I just can't
Is
wrap my head
insane.
around it. You got Mark sweating over
George Foster.
George Foster, Cincinnati Reds, Big Red Machine,
Big Red
1977, 52.
Oh, I can't think of his last name.
Oh, no.
Hold
Last
on.
names only,
Oh.
pal.
Andrew Jones?
Andrew Jones, the Atlanta
Andrew.
Braves, 51 in 2005.
I must be getting close, though. Getting rid of all the 2000s.
You getting Andrew Jones is a little suspicious for me, Mark. I think he's got the window open over there.
Hack Wilson.
Hack Wilson, the first not named Babe Ruth, 1930, 56. That was also the year he set the record that still stands, 191 RBIs.
Wow.
Yeah, it used to be 190 for a long time.
And then they changed
Then
it.
they changed it.
Elias?
Yeah.
Have you said Mickey Mantle?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what other old baseball players I
Yeah,
know.
normally I write them down, but
Willie Mays? Has that been said?
Willie Mays.
not been said.
Two different times, 1955 and 1965, 51 and 52.
Jimmy Fox.
The X-Man, twice, 1932 and 1938, 58 and 50.
One for each X.
I'm in trouble.
You're
I'm,
done.
I'm in a lot of trouble.
If you even get one more, I think it's suspicious.
Oh.
My eyebrows are already raised with this guy over here.
Oh. You've little
disrespectful.
faith.
Mike Trout? No.
Yeah, Trout
Mike
is
Trout.
a tough one.
He's been in the 40s a few times, I think.
Louis Gonzalez, Arizona.
Again, I keep saying in the running for most obscure, 57. He was
Wow.
part of the three-horse race there, Bond, Sosa, and him in
Yes.
2001.
I've got, what, one strike?
Yep. It's our mono-y-mono
Trying to think of
showdown.
somebody-
50 home run seasons.
Frank Thomas.
The Big Hurt.
Frank Thomas never had one?
No Frankie. Modest career high for Frank, I think. Maybe 45, somewhere in that. Took a lot of walks.
It's a pretty good mock.
Guys who take a lot of walks, not to ruin one, but like guys like Ted Williams,
Ted-
they
yeah,
just don't
to-
get enough at bats
Yeah.
to do it.
Oh, my
Yeah,
goodness.
46. Wow.
Boy, you're in trouble too now, Mark. I think
I've got one in my hip pocket. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure. Latour's got 2 strikes.
Yeah. Do you have one or two?
I got
got
one.
one.
No, I don't like that at all.
One. There's one guy, and I want to say him. I just can't picture his 50 home run season. I'm going to go with the one in my pocket is Johnny Mize.
Johnny Mize, yes.
That's not a real person, is it?
1947, New York Giants, 51.
One of the World War II stars, Johnny Mize. I've got one in my pocket.
Keep it for the win.
The problem is I can't place it.
we doing for time? I need a second here. 2 minutes? Okay.
I'm going to buzz you.
Yeah. Miguel Cabrera? Damn.
No Miguel Cabrera.
It's a tough one to lose on, too.
That's a good one, though. Good guess.
I will take a Detroit Tiger.
Yep.
There aren't many.
Yep.
Hank Greenberg.
That is correct.
Hank Greenberg's there.
Twice.
Good work.
Yeah. The one that I had considered, but I couldn't place, was my favorite. 11 shy of 700, Albert Pujols. But
No?
I don't. Yeah, see, I couldn't place
Never
it.
had one?
No, the guy's got 1,000 home runs, but
Cabrera had 44.
I'd go Jim Thome.
yeah, Jim Thome.
Greg Vaughn.
Oh yeah,
Obscure. I think you nailed every other one.
Adrian Gonzalez. Then did I say Adrian Gonzalez?
No, he's not on here.
I'm looking through
Are
the
you
list now.
sure?
I'm 100% sure.
Did you say Hack Wilson?
Yeah, Hack Wilson.
I think the only ones you missed were Greg Vaughn and Jim Thome.
Mm.
Wow, good for you guys. That was a great game. That was
I
a great
got every
category.
single one after 2000, with the exception of Sosa, Gonzalez, and Bonds.
Stayed in your wheelhouse.
Yeah,
You knew what was up. Gentlemen, this was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
yeah.
Of course, this has been another edition of the Capital PTBO Sports Show, an MNC podcast production. Mark, if people want to support the show, all they have to do is log on to patreon.com/capitalptbo. And what are some of the goodies that they might get?
Yeah, so I'll give you just one from each tier instead of reading the whole thing. You can see it for yourself. So the $3 tier, you're going to get an exclusive Capital PTBO podcast sticker that you can only get by being a Patreon supporter. At $7, you're going to get your name on the blackboard, just like Jimmy did. At the $13 tier, you're going to start to get access to other aspects of the show or other aspects of the store, such as when we run special events, you're going to get exclusive access first before our regular customers. And at the $20 tier, we're going to start to open it up to special episodes that you won't necessarily find on your TV, and you certainly won't be able to find on YouTube or Facebook. You'll get exclusive access to those shows.
Patreon.com/capitalptbo. Special shout out here to Mason Murdy. He's a 10-year-old from Norwood and was crowned Grand National Champion in his motocross dirt bike division on Saturday at Grand National at Walton Raceway in Walton, Ontario.
Shout out Walton, Ontario.
Yes. I love that.
Way to go, kid. That's terrific.
Absolutely. And again, major thank you. We are, of course, always broadcasting on your TV, Peterborough. Lindsay, this has been broadcast from the Capital PTBO at 370 George Street North. Yes, indeed. We will talk again next week.